Alright, today's quick mini electric pump vid is looking at the Coospo X1. So this is the second mini electric pump from Coospo that we've had a quick look at, the last one being on the AP-B1. I believe this is meant to be superseding that. So the main thing with this brand is obviously they're looking to offer excellent performance. So taking it to the much more premium priced pumps, but at a much more budget-friendly price. I've listed its price, so this is US dollars is the main site for them. It's about currently $85 Australian. So pretty, much more budget-friendly than a lot of the $150 to $200 mini electric pumps from the main brands. Just quick dash to the main claims before we have a look at the testing. So claims to weigh 127 grams, going up to 120 psi, which it does. And I just want to zip down to its claimed inflation time speeds. This one, it's only got a 25C listing here and a 23C on another one. My test tank has, or is equivalent to a 28C tyre. So we'll have to sort of manually rate these a bit, but it's saying it can do 4 tyres to 0.80 psi for 25C in 47 seconds. So we'll just bear that overall sort of performance claiming in mind as we're testing to a 28C equivalent with my test tank. All right, unboxing of the first performance test for the Coospo X1, the successor to the AP-B1, which we did last Friday. That's not done too much cycle testing yet, but let's see if this has upgraded performance over the AP-B1 and if it's matching any of the more premium units which cost a lot more. So this one I believe retails for about 80 Australian, although pricing to be confirmed. Alright, usual kind of stuff. So we have hose, which is handy, means you can use it with TPU, the usual USB-C, ball inflator, and the Presta to Schrader converter. Sorry, Schrader to Presta converter for your hose. We do not have a protective case. This one looks more sealed than this one is obviously quite open, so definitely not super resistant to the elements. This is going to be more so. And unlike the AP-B1, it moves to a more basic display as opposed to the nice coloured display, which is similar to the Via Recon. Cool. So yeah, looks more sealed up, although it's a bit open there. So still wouldn't be very resistant to elements, and there's no silicone case. So just of note, size-wise, still bigger than say the Muck Off AirMac Pro or the Psych Plus AS2 Pro. It's a bit bigger than that still. Better get my scale, sorry, for a weight. One moment. Alright, has a claimed weight of 128 grams. 127.1. Match. Alright, let's see how its performance goes. Okay, it has been fully charged up. Set the PSI. So a competitive time for round 1 to 70 PSI for pumps of similar weight, so the Muck Off AirMac Pro, Psych Plus AS2 Pro, is 55 seconds. Where's the on button? It's going to be the one in the middle. Good luck. That is a strange starting sound. Stop at 30. That's weird. RPM sounds slower and quieter than most. Okay, it's round 3 back to back. Competitive time is about 1:05. All right, let's have a quick zoom through all of the scored categories for its total points, and we can have a look at some pretty graphs quickly. So it gets 5 points for having a display. 5 points now out of a maximum of 5. I've re-rated that from a 10-point category down to a 5 for all units, as it's less important than other categories. But it's able to start at up to 115 psi pressure. Again, all pumps warn you against starting at pressure, but that can be very handy, so I do measure and score it. It gets 9 out of 10 for its round 1 inflation score. Drops to a 6 out of 10, which is still competitive for its round 3 inflation time. Thermal performance much better than the Coospo AP-B1, which was 70 degrees at the end of 3 rounds back to back. This is at 50 degrees. That is substantial. There is a massive difference in holding on to a pump at 50 versus 70, I can tell you that. One is fine and one is rather burnies. It was able to inflate a total of 3.81 rounds, so it was unable to inflate to 70 psi for a 4th time. Gets 7 out of 10. Its performance factor was reasonably pretty good, 9.34, so that's not out of 10. You can get above that. That's literally just a calculation based on its inflation speed versus its weight. And its efficiency, so if all units we take their total output and then we factor in their weight and multiply it out as if they all weighed 150 grams, then this would be able to inflate basically 4.51 rounds, which gets it a 5 out of 10. So it's less competitive than some, which can get sort of right in the high 5s, nearly 6. So its efficiency is still a little bit lacking, or its endurance. However, again, for the price, it is overall very good. Total score of 55.34. That puts it into 5th place out of all units tested. The top one for outright performance still remains the Magic Shine Aero at 69.6, followed by the Muck-Off AirMac Pro, the Cyclopus AS2, and then AS2 Pro, and then the Via Recon. So that is, again, it's a solid ranking position, considering that this is $85 versus most others being $180, $165, $190, and the Magic Shine Aero does a great job at $150. All right, let's have a look at some graphs. So I can see ranking there. Just note overall on there's the total sort of weight and volume. Performance points divided by the pump weight. It is down in 6th place, and divided by pump volume, it's pretty good 4th place there. So it jumps up a little bit, taking into account its form factor. Cost is obviously nicely very low, and so at the moment it is coming in with the best bang for buck in terms of each performance point that it earned is only costing you $1.55. So in terms of value for money, providing that these Coospo units, long testing or longer term testing last, then their performance for their price is looking very impressive. You know, when we compare it to, say, the only other budget one that we've tested, really the FlexTail Mini, you know, its performance was so low that whilst it's cheap, you're getting not great performance for it. Whereas for, you know, at around the sort of $80 mark, you're getting some actual really usable performance from these two Coospo pumps at the moment. They just need to last. There's the inflation times that we went through, so that's ranking fairly well there overall. That we don't need to worry about yet. Thermal management, it's all groovy. All right, so that's the main highlights for its overall performance and value at this time. Okay, so coming back to this post testing, it's a little bit difficult to rate. So we were 59 seconds to get to 70 psi in a 28C tire, and it managed to inflate that 3.8 times. It's in the vicinity of this, so there's nothing too outlandishly out. Its overall performance is not massively different to the AP-B1, but it's a little bit, and it is also achieving that little bit more in a smaller form factor. So it is an overall upgrade, but if you've already got the AP-B1, I wouldn't bother spending extra just to replace it with this. The gap's not that big. So the main thing is, though, for its price, it is definitely kicking in some really good performance. So the main thing will be over time, seeing how it handles the load cycles and seeing if its longevity is a match for the more premium units. That will be the only question mark. In terms of just pure performance for dollars, both of the Coospo units tested so far have really been very good. You're getting very competitive performance for half the price or less versus the premium pumps. So there we go. There's first looks, and stay tuned. We'll see how long it lasts as we get to hammer it through. It's probably the only note on this. So it is open venting on the motor. It does have open venting on the side there, so it's definitely not going to be waterproof like a lot of the more premium units, which, whilst they often will come with a waterproof bag because the USB-C ports aren't sealed, that is really the only point of ingress for a lot of those pumps, whereas this has a lot more ingress if you had this in your saddlebag being hosed with water from your back tire. So it doesn't come with a waterproof pouch. You'll need to source one if you do any riding out in the wet, and this could be exposed to that. Now that's the main initial thoughts. If you have been using Coospo or this pump in particular, let me know. Let me know how it's been going. And stay tuned. We'll see how things go longer term.